You heard of Pimp My Ride? Well, how about Pimp My Pram? Listen in as I talk to the founder of Australia's first customised pram business. Oh yeah!
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. Well done for you deciding to tune on in. You are clearly a motivated small business owner ready to crank out some great marketing. It's Timbo Reid here, fresh back from LA. Got a couple of names to drop in that regard very shortly. I know. Mick Jagger once told me to never drop names, but I am going to do it. I think that'll be the last time I use that joke, but it just comes out every now and then. Hey, listen, big show. We have got a fireside chat with Tahir Baig, who, as I said at the start there, co-founder of a custom-built pram business called Rozibaby. We cover some serious marketing ground in that chat. Also going to announce the winner of episode 185. You might remember there's a little competition there to win a $159 skincare hamper from Ryan at Cactus Skincare. And there is plenty more marketing gold to be distributed in this episode. So let's get stuck right in.
Small Business Big Marketing with Tim Reid.
So I am fresh off the plane from Los Angeles. Got back a couple of days ago, and normally I'd have an editorial, as you know, at the start of this show. Just haven't got around to writing that. Doesn't mean we haven't got a lot to cover. LA was amazing. I gave a talk at the Disneyland Convention Center to a group of financial advisors, and it went really well. I love it when my talks go well. You know they're going well when you get lots of questions and people come up afterwards. And what I did also was man the stand for the company that sent me over there in the expo. So that gave me an opportunity to speak to a lot of the people who are in the audience afterwards. And it's just really interesting to hear what questions small business owners are asking. I think I might have shared this idea before, but the idea of listening to what your customers and your prospects are asking you provides great fodder for content that you could be creating, whether it be in a video form, a book form, dare I say, a blog post, or whatever it is. So, it went really well. I met one of the other speakers. How's this? One of the other speakers was a lady by the name of Karen Jacobson, an Australian lady now living in New York, also known as Siri, and also the voice of the TomTom navigating device. Amazing, hey? Kind of weird meeting Siri. So I got to meet Karen, and she has agreed to come on this show in the coming weeks. Just got to set that up. So that's kind of interesting because she's built a really strong personal brand, and is obviously now on the speaking circuit as a result of becoming the voice of Apple's Siri. What do you call that? Application, I suppose. Whilst I'm in the business of dropping names, I checked in at the Beverly Hilton Hotel at the same time as President Barack Obama. Yeah, how can you believe that? That's just like surreal. Tick that off the bucket list, like it was ever on the bucket list. Yeah, register at a hotel at the same time as the President of the United States is going to. But that happened. It was amazing. Saw his cavalcade. The security was out of control. There were dogs everywhere. There were people on roofs. There were men in black suits. There was just like metal detectors out the front of the lifts. Pretty amazing. He blocked off 3 floors. He had 1 floor and then the floor above him and the floor below him. So I kind of felt like I was in the safest place on earth at that point in time. Also went shopping down in Rodeo Drive at the Ralph Lauren store in Beverly Hills. And there is Jennifer Aniston. Happy days, Timbo. Going from Barack Obama to Jennifer Aniston. Actually preferred seeing Jennifer Aniston, I must say. Very exciting. And also saw Mickey Mouse because I was at Disneyland, but that was kind of less exciting. I'm a bit over Disneyland. Way too many prams, which is kind of interesting given my guest today. Highlight of my trip outside of the keynote that I gave was going to Six Flags Magic Mountain. 19 roller coasters, team. 19. Very, very exciting times. I recorded a few videos that I am putting together right now, a YouTube channel. Haven't launched it yet, but I've been doing a lot of little 1-minute marketing tip videos as I've been traveling the world the last 6 months, and I'll put that up in the coming weeks. Stay tuned. You'll be the first to know. But that's a little quick summary of my time in California. Now, are you keen to get your online marketing sorted? I would assume you are, given you are tuning into this show. One complaint I hear from small business owners a lot is that they can't get a break when it does come to marketing their business online. They'll be having the worst experience with their website developer. The site will keep crashing. Design isn't something that they're happy with. It's just all these things keep going wrong. I tell them they need to talk to Net Registry because they will get your online marketing sorted. You don't need to be a pro when it comes to the internet because they are, and they make it all simple and straightforward. Getting you a domain name, your website hosted, pay-per-click advertising, website design, whatever you need to market your small business effectively online. And better yet, because Net Registry are proud sponsors of this show and want to see small businesses succeed, then you can take advantage of some fantastic exclusive listener deals. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and click on the Net Registry banner and you will see those exclusive listener deals. Very effective and very cost effective as well. Or you can head over to netregistry.com.au and tell them Timbo sent you. Now, I've got this member inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum called Christian Mahoney. Mahoney, I'm going to go with. He has got a business called The Retail Guy. Now, Christian has been a member for a long time, one of the original members, actually. And when he started, he had a business and he was doing okay. And then things happened beyond his control and he had to let go of that business. And he made contact with me. He said, I really don't want to, but I'm going to have to leave the forum because I can't afford the $49 that the forum costs. And, he was doing it tough. Anyway, between us all, other forum members, we managed to keep him inside the forum and he is going from strength to strength to strength. One of the first things I did was, not just me, but myself and other forum members helped Christian identify exactly what he wanted to do going forward. And he decided that retail really is his passion. He's a retailer from way back. And so what we did, he set himself up with a business called theretailguy.com.au, and I set him on a 31-day blog post challenge, which he delivered on every day for 31 days. He wrote a blog post, and that allowed him to get traction, not only in the search engines, but just for him to get clear on his message and what it is that he had to offer. Started to build a list off the back of that, started to get clear on some product and service offerings, and really it was just amazing to watch. And lots of stuff is now happening for him. In fact, I intend to get him on the show in the coming weeks and months. He doesn't know that yet. It might be the first time he hears that once he listens to this episode. But he put something... We have a part of the Small Business Big Marketing Forum called the Winners Circle, where small business owners share their successes. And Christian wrote just last week, my first piece of fame, he says, did a 10-minute interview with a journo from the Courier Mail, which is a Brisbane newspaper up in there in Queensland, who found me on Google when he typed in retail expert. It resulted in a one-paragraph article published in that newspaper, and it's also in the Australian newspaper as well. Now, that's just a great little win. I mean, it's great for Christian's confidence. It's great for his business. Clearly, he's starting to rank well in Google, and it's because he's creating really meaningful, helpful content on his website, and I'm sure that 31-day blog post challenge really helped him along there. But one of the things I've really noticed with Christian is he's leaning in and absolutely committing to build his business from the inside out. And it's exciting to watch. Well done to you, Christian, mate. It's just a wonderful story in the making. And I mean that, mate. I look forward to having you on this show sometime this year. Hey? We'll just leave it at that. Well done, mate. Oh, by the way, I was going to finish that segment there, but... if you want to join the Small Business Big Marketing Forum, do do it. I'm in there every day answering your questions, your marketing questions. So are a whole lot of other motivated small business owners. So head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and click on the forum button. In fact, why don't you stop listening right now? Join. It will take you 2 minutes, 33 seconds to join, and then come back and finish this episode. All right, let's get stuck into today's guest. His name is Tahir Baig, and he has a business called Rozibaby. Let me spell that for you. ROZIBABY.com.au. Personalised, custom-built prams. Pimp my pram, as I said at the start. The business offers 64,000 combinations of prams. I love this. I think the personalisation of products and service offerings isn't done enough. So I love what Tahir is doing here, and that's what kind of piqued my interest when I first came across him, which was on Qantas Radio. I was flying between Melbourne and Sydney, and he was being interviewed on Qantas Business Radio. Rozibaby has recently won the Nielsen Research Product of the Year in the pram category for 2014. They've had their product featured on Logie award-winning TV show House Husbands. Logie is a TV award in Australia for your overseas listeners. And we cover a lot of ground in this episode. We talk about how he came across the idea, about launching the idea into the marketplace, developing a great business partnership with the other co-founder, Rosh, his name is, how he's gone about overcoming buyer fears, because Rozibaby is a completely 100% online business. You can't buy them at retail outlets. He shares the best marketing he's ever done and plenty more. So it's a great interview. Pen and paper at the ready, cup of tea in hand. Here's Tahir from Rozibaby. Custom-made prams, huh?
Yeah, that's right. That's the idea that my business partner Rosh came up with a couple of years ago, also going back probably around 3 years ago now.
Well, the whole custom-made thing, I reckon it's underdone. When I first came across your idea, I thought there should be more custom-made offerings. I've just, literally last week I was in Disneyland. They had Build-A-Bear, they had Build-A-Ride, and I know we've got Build-A-Bear in Australia too, but I hadn't seen Build-A-Ride, which was basically custom-made toy cars. Then there's Nike ID, which is like custom-made runners. So where'd the idea for Rozibaby come from?
Well, it's an interesting one, actually, because Rosh was working in his parents' or family wholesale furniture business for a few years before he came up with the idea. And he was helping a client who needed help distributing baby products, and he was introduced to the baby segment, and being the sort of entrepreneur that he is, he put on his business cap and started thinking, what can I do differently? And he saw a big gap in the pram market in particular. So and everything that had the sort of features he was looking for was either ridiculously expensive or inflexible and lacking in options. So so he went along and started figuring out whether he could actually make something out of it. And around the time that he was doing that, which was around 3 years ago, he let me know about it. Like we're all friends from high school.
Before he let you know about it, was just out of interest, was his wife or partner pregnant?
No, we were actually both single guys at the time, which is kind of a very funny part of the story. So
he's a true entrepreneur. He's
exactly right.
He did not experience the problem personally, but he identified a problem. So he's off. Was Rosh at this time then, Tahir? Was he going off visiting Baby Co and other pram shops, just kind of road testing these things?
Yeah, I think he must have done a bit of ground level research. I don't actually know what he did in his first few months, but I saw a pretty thorough business plan after a few months, which is around the time that he was looking at getting a partner on board. And I think he probably found himself reading magazines that he wouldn't want to see other people
classic
looking at.
Yeah, not exactly a chick magnet kind of strategy when you do bring a lady home and there's a pram magazine on the coffee table. No.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he kept that all to himself for a while.
So why did he then tap you on the shoulder as a potential business partner? Because I'm being quite literal here, but you'd think you'd go and find like a parent,
a mum,
mum. Totally.
It's a very good question. So Rosh and I knew each other since high school, and we'd kept in touch and probably become better friends through our uni years and beyond. And what really attracted me to Rosh was his business and entrepreneurial spirit, and especially he wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo and reimagine the world in whatever facet, or whatever topic we were talking about or looking into.
He's a disruptor.
Yeah, you could say that. That's probably a good way to describe him. So he is a bit of a disruptor, and certainly in his mind until Rozibaby started, when he sort of brought the idea to fruition. And I think what he saw in me was because Rosh studied and was really has been and still is very good at marketing and strategy and sort of the high level thinking. And that's sort of something that's always interested him. And whereas I've got an engineering background.
You're the meat and potatoes. You're the nuts and bolts bloke.
Yeah, so I have the sort of very analytical and critical thinking mind, and he thought that was something that would be a very complementary skill set, and so he approached me and asked me what I think, and
What were you doing at the time?
At the time he first told me about the idea, I was working as a consultant at PricewaterhouseCoopers. So that was my first full-time job after finishing university. So I was in the management consulting group, going out to various big clients.
Yeah, right.
Like some of the biggest companies in Australia.
So you were trapped in the cubicle.
Yeah,
somewhat. I mean, there are degrees of being trapped. I know there are people who listen to this show who are completely trapped, others who are on the verge of escape. But tell me, were you looking for an out?
I certainly, towards a couple of years into working there, I was looking for other options of things to do. So I did both Rosh and I did business degrees as well. So mine was a double degree with engineering, and I had worked at Ford Motor Company for a year as well, but during my uni years, and then I thought I should try some of the business side of it and explore what's there in the commerce field. And I certainly was looking for something else, because I found, even though I really liked automotive, I didn't, even back in sort of 2007 when I was working at Ford, I saw that the automotive market wasn't really heading anywhere in Australia. And in terms of PwC, I think a lot of people who start as graduates sort of look for other opportunities after a few years. So it was I was naturally around that phase where I was looking for the next thing to do.
So have you looked at this business plan that Rosh has given you around custom-made prams, and have you just gone, oh my God, this is like Meccano. Like, I'm an engineer and I can see the next 10 years of my life just putting prams together. What excited you about his proposal?
It's a good question, and what you mentioned is certainly a part of it. I think the whole knowing that I would be the technical guy at the company was certainly an exciting prospect, because I knew that wouldn't come naturally to Rosh, and that'd be the first thing he'd hand over to me. But I think what excited me more was what I was speaking about before, which is Rosh's entrepreneurial spirit and his willingness to just challenge the status quo, and his kind of more risk-seeking view on things, which was quite contrary to what I had experienced through both my family and friends, and just through like the average person you meet on the street. He thought in a very, very different way to pretty much everyone I knew, and certainly anyone I knew personally. So for me, that was always a very attractive quality in him. And a lot of people, even as recently as my wedding a few months ago, have described me as very risk-averse. So for me, this was my way of going, I'm really going to, like, now that I've got this opportunity, this is my chance to really do it side by side with someone who thinks completely differently to everyone else. And I don't think I would have done anything like this if Rosh hadn't approached me, or it certainly would have taken me a lot longer to find an opportunity or the courage or a reason to dive so far out of my comfort zone.
So did you a whole lot of naysayers in your kind of family, friends going, "Oh, Tahir, you've got a very big job at PricewaterhouseCoopers. You're crazy."
Yeah, look, I mean, a lot of people sort of question me after having got my double degree in commerce and engineering, and got a bit of experience on my belt in big engineering and commerce or business companies. Like, why am I going and looking at starting up a business in prams from scratch? But like, I guess my parents were actually quite supportive in the idea, and they did actually help me out a bit, and so did Rosh's parents, even though they did question like what I was doing, and they did ask, like, you know, are you sure this is what you want to do? But I didn't. I guess I didn't find anyone particularly unsupportive, but by the same token, no one was there, aside from Rosh, going, "Oh, this is great, you've got to go and do it. And, you know, you're going to get great experience out of it," and so on and so forth. Everyone was sort of congratulatory, but also a bit like you could see that they wouldn't do it themselves. And they
welcome to small business.
Pardon?
I said, welcome to small business.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right.
You know, so, you get a job at a big company, and people go, "Oh, you know, well done, champ. You know, you're doing beautifully." But when you say you're going to start something from scratch, there is, I don't know, from my experience and having spoken to a lot of people like you, there's more a sense of fear and like bewilderment as opposed to, you know, that's amazing.
Exactly, and it's not really, in my view, it's not really an indictment on the people. It's just that they're not familiar with it, and it's not something they would do. So, but for me, when I was putting myself in this environment, and I think just general advice for anyone who's putting themselves in this environment is surround yourself with people who've done it and done it successfully, rather than with the opinions of people who haven't done it. Like, there's no point getting opinions from someone who's been very successful in the corporate world about how risky it is to start your own business. You'd much rather talk to people who've done small business or been entrepreneurs and tried a few things and made something work. And I think for me, that's been the key to me staying motivated and knowing that I'm doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, so important, Tahir, to just generally surround yourself with positive people, really.
Exactly right.
Life lesson number 23, for sure. Hey, so you launched this thing called Rozibaby in 2012?
Yes, so we launched on the 1st of May 2012, so we're just over 2 years old now.
Happy birthday.
Cheers.
And do you look back, and it's only 2 years ago, so it's not that long, but... do you look back on that first pram you sold and get a bit of a giggle, or like tell us about that moment?
Yeah, no, that was certainly very exciting for us. Like we've still sort of kept in touch with the customer who bought it from us, and we've actually given her a couple of little freebies, and she sent us a few photos which we've shared on our social media, and it was quite an exciting moment for them and for us. And I think what we found and what we learned as we were starting the business is that your first few customers are actually not too dissimilar from us in terms of being like crazy people with grand ideas as to how we're going to do things differently, because they're also risk takers in buying a product which is untested, hasn't been reviewed, a brand that has no name or no reputation. And so for us, it was very exciting selling those few products, not just because it was the start of our business, but because we were interacting and transacting with people that believed in our vision rather than just wanted the product. So,
what was the vision? How did you? And what was it, and how did you communicate that?
Well, for us, I guess it was that we can offer something that's affordable, flexible, exciting, and is completely unlike anything else out on the market. So anyone who's been to our website will probably go to the pram builder and have a look at how you can change all the colors and the wheel options. So it basically is like Lego. You can change the color or configuration or look of it at the touch of a button. And this was an exciting thing for people, even when we were before we'd launched the company, when we were building the website and we had a concept of the pram builder. We were showing people like I remember when we were doing a video shoot in a small, like it was one of those little terrace houses which has got commercial premises downstairs, and got a few hippies living very happily upstairs doing their photography and renting out their studio. And we had these young 20-something boys with dreadlocks and beards really excited by the pram builder. So it was quite a thing to see. So
you've kind of got something, you're onto something then.
Yeah, exactly right.
I tell you what, speaking of vision and the way you described it, again, reflecting back on Disneyland last week, that is pram mania. And I have no interest in prams right now. My children are well and truly past that. But I do, and I didn't know I was going to be talking to you at this stage, and I do reflect. I remember a couple of moments where I've gone, wow, they're pretty nice wheels.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all of a sudden, like it's become a bit of a status symbol. Got the car sorted out, got the Audi in the car park, just need to make sure I pull the right pram out of that boot.
Yeah, and that's very much what's been happening in the last sort of probably 10 years or so, as I think it's been a trend for people or for couples to have children as they get a bit older, because now compared to, say, my parents' generation, it's more common for women to enter the workforce and have a career before they have children. So what comes with that is that they've got more disposable income, and they want more in return. So all these really high-end pram brands have come out to sort of meet that need, and it's happened throughout the baby segment in more than just prams. So you'll see a whole bunch of new innovations and things that didn't exist even when I was a baby. So,
we push around in those stroller things that were probably half the reason I've got a sore back. Hey, tell me, taking it to market, taking Rozibaby to market, I know I speak to a lot of small business owners, and even around marketing, people just say, like I say, why haven't you got your website live? Or why haven't you embarked on that podcasting or video strategy? It's like, we're waiting for it to be perfect. I haven't got everything in place yet. Haven't got this. Did you just get something to market, Tahir, that was far less than what you really saw this business as being, or did you actually wait for it to be perfect?
Well, I think it's a very good question. I think for us, there were certain elements that needed to be perfect, and there were other things that we knew that would perfect themselves just through experience and just through evolution of the business. And we recognise, and this is why for me it was great to have Rosh, because Rosh is expedient, whereas I'm very detailed.
Yeah.
So with the combination of our natural inclinations, Rosh would tend to expedite everything, and I would question and say, well, what if we spend a bit more time on this? And what we found is that we were consciously
checking each other.
Yeah, and so what we found is that we got a really good compromise on the things that can be done quickly, and with a few more questions as to whether they're going to work, and the things that really needed to be done well. Like, for example, the pram builder. That was something that we sort of questioned a few times, because at the start we were going to, for example, have just like a photoshopped color just get a graphic designer to make something to represent what it would look like.
But you've gone and
the
actually
colours would be very flat, and the texture wouldn't actually represent what it looked like. And we had to look at a few concepts, and it was a halfway there thing. But we sort of questioned and said, look, is there a way that we can actually do this so that it looks like the actual product? And all it required was for us to ask the question. It didn't actually require that much more effort or expense to do it. It just required us to ask the photographer, can you recolor all of these individual fabric components which make up the pram builder image? And they said, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. It's only a few hours extra work. And so, with that asking those few extra questions allowed us to put a bit more effort into things that really mattered. So, I think that the short answer to the question is yes and no.
I was going to say it's too late for the short answer.
It is a bit too late for that, isn't it?
So it was. That's great. I mean, because that whole getting it to market thing. I mean, I'm sure there's people listening to this that are sitting on ideas that probably could have been to market 2 years ago, but for whatever reason they've decided to hold back. And it's sort of like launch day is not the end. Like, I think people see the launch day as like it's really just the start. And I'm sure if you reflect back on those first 2 years, what you've added since selling that first pram has been quite significant. And if you had have waited for all those ducks to be in a row, you'd still not have gone live.
Yeah, we'd not have gone live, and we wouldn't be as progressed as we were, because we wouldn't have learnt the things that are necessary to learn when you're actually selling a product. And even things down to the customer experience on the website, you get feedback on those things within days of making a change, or sometimes within hours. And then of course there's things with if you're selling a physical product, you'll get feedback on the product itself. And we've already within 18 months we've had 3 iterations, so we're up to the 3rd generation pram, which now has an adjustable height handlebar and the option of a second child seat. And they're things we didn't start with, but have now they're now very sort of significant strings to our bow, which are big selling points that we didn't have at the start. So we wouldn't have known what the most important features are to add had we not launched the product and had we not launched the business.
Am I right in saying there are 64,000 combinations of Rozibaby prams?
Yeah, that's right. If you combine all the wheel combinations and all the colour combinations, and that's not even including accessories, so there'd probably be well over 100,000 at the moment.
What's the most fun accessory you could add? Air conditioning?
We wish. Maybe down the track.
Yeah. But, an ashtray?
Not quite an ashtray. We've got a snack tray, though.
Oh, of course. Fast food babies.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got a snack tray for the kids, and we've got a parent pack for the adults, which has got 2 drink bottle holders and a zip-up pouch.
And where does baby put his or her iPhone?
His or her iPhone, we'll probably have to make an accessory for that. It might be an add-on to the snack tray.
I tell you what, I reckon if we spoke in 5 years' time, the fancy pram would be quite amazing. What it'd come with: Bluetooth, air conditioning. Tell me, is there one with an inbuilt screen, DVD or something?
Not that we not that we've sold as an accessory, but right. I wouldn't be surprised if people have bought clip-on accessories for their bar, or even their kids, because the child on the seat unit has got a bumper bar which is a similar size and shape to the handlebar, so they should probably clip on a little iPad.
It is a matter of time, Tahir.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a matter of time. Now, listeners, I am speaking to the co-founder of Rozibaby custom-built prams, Tahir Baig. And Tahir, let's talk marketing. Love a bit of marketing banter. First of all, Where'd the name come from?
That's an interesting one. So this came a little bit before I came on board, but the story goes, so Rosh was working with his father in the wholesale furniture business, and they were toying around with ideas, and his father coined the name, the first bit of the name Rosie, which is the first two letters of Rosh's first name and the first two letters of his sister's name, which is Zeba.
Uh-huh.
So that's where Rosie came about, and it had a nice ring to it. So Rozibaby stuck, and it just so happens that Zeba got her full name in there.
I was just going to say, the B and A of baby.
Yeah.
Well, she's done very well.
Yeah, so the secret favourite child.
Do you love the name?
The story. It is. Like we really enjoy it, and I think it for us it sort of the word Rosie kind of speaks the kind of the language and the image that we want to portray for the company.
Right.
So. And also quite a bit of work went into the design and selection of the logo as well. So Rosh put out basically a submission onto 99 Designs, which is a site that allows people or designers and otherwise to submit designs based on a particular brief. Mm-hmm. And he selected the best one, who happens to be a designer based in the Ukraine, who's a single father who does farming by day and graphic design by night. Beautiful. So, we've used him for all of our graphic design ever since.
Fantastic site, 99 Designs, and quite a beautiful logo. Sort of like what are we talking there? It's like a hummingbird, an orange hummingbird. It is.
Yeah, it's a hummingbird.
And I bet you didn't at that point know that Google's most recent update to their algorithm was called the Hummingbird Update.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Because their algorithm is fast and accurate, like your prams.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. So who would have thought? So, okay, now you are Rozibaby is a completely online business, which I find interesting, which all of a sudden raises the issue of consumer fears, because there are a whole lot of fears of buying things online still in today's day and age, and you would argue that the higher involvement the purchase decision, the more fears there are. You know, what's the quality like? Is it really going to arrive? Are they going to provide good backup? All these kind of fears that stop people buying from a business like you. What have you done to address these fears?
That's a very good question, because it's probably the biggest limitation of our business as it is. It also gives us some of the biggest opportunities that we have. So what we do is we are very, very responsive and very detailed in our feedback and response to people's queries before purchase and after purchase. So we're available by telephone. So we've got a big 1-800 number that we advertise on our website. We've got contact us submission, contact us forms, which come straight to our emails, and like a straight email address that you can use. We have online chat, which we get onto as often as we can. And we try and respond to email inquiries within a day, unless we're super busy, in which case it might be a couple of days. And phone chats, because it's a 1-800 number, we're basically telling people we want you to call us, and we're happy to talk to you about any issues or any questions you have, any fears you have about the buying process, etc. So we try and basically quench any fears through good communication. Of course, before that, we try and give as much information as we can on the website. We also encourage customers to post reviews, and we also have a little box like a little frame on our website with the latest reviews from productreview.com.au, so that people can see that other people have reviewed and liked the product. So we try and do as much as we can, even before they make contact with us, to allay some of the common fears of purchasing online. And we also have a money-back guarantee policy as well. So if you're not happy with it, you can return it within 14 days, and we just charge an administration fee of $35. no matter where you are in the country.
Do you need to do that? Why even charge? Wouldn't it be better like a no strings attached 14-day guarantee?
We did think about it, but I think what we wanted to avoid is people just pressing the buy button because there's no skin in the game. Yeah, so we wanted to attach a small investment for the privilege of trying it, because with the $35 restocking fee, if we take the sending postage cost, the return postage cost, our time, both in the pre-sales process as well as the packing, sending, courier labeling, and so on, the $35 is actually quite cheap. And if you take into one thing a lot of people forget is that when they go to a baby store, they're actually spending a lot of time and effort. They're getting in their car, they're putting petrol in the car, they're having to service the car. So they're actually spending a bit of money to go and look at products out in traditional baby stores as well. So we thought we needed to put some level of investment into it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the only way to do it or that it's necessarily the best way. It's just the way that we've tried a few different ways, and so far this is the best one, the best compromise that we've found so far.
So Tahir, talking of baby stores, because my next question is about how on earth do people find you? The whole idea, I mean, I'm not sure there's a whole lot of parents or would-be parents sitting around going, yeah, let's get a custom-made pram, because it's just not on their shopping list. Or correct me if I'm wrong, because my kids are all teenagers and maybe the whole concept of a custom-made pram is on people's shopping lists these days. But how do they find you? Because they're all going into Baby Co or Target or wherever you buy prams these days, and they're seeing the prams and they're buying them. How do you get into that? How do you get onto the shopping list?
So that's probably the other very good question as well. Getting people to our brand, like, I guess our long-term vision is that we want to be a brand that is almost like a household name. So people, when they're going to have a baby, they know that Rozibaby is, one of the recognised, respected brands, represents great value for money, great customer service, and so on and so forth. But at the start, we've experimented with different ways of advertising, and I think the most effective form of advertising we found is Google AdWords. And what we're trying to do is capture people who are looking for who are doing pram research, either general research or they're looking for a specific model online.
Yep.
And we sort of captured them when they're in that discovery phase, or if they're looking on review websites, we try and target the review websites as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I expected you to say Google AdWords. I mean, I think you could... Yeah, because there'd be so much research being done by parents on what pram to buy, and if you're popping up there time and time again, both, I'm guessing, text-based ads and banner ads, you're remarketing as well?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we do remarketing as well to reinforce the brand, to try and make us appear to be perhaps bigger than what we are, but I think we're actually starting to get towards the size that we project the appearance of being as time goes by, because our sales, for example, in our last shipping container, which came a couple of weeks ago, we've sold out more than half of it, and we're likely to be completely out in a few weeks' time.
Great problem to have.
Pardon?
I said that's a great problem to have.
It is a great problem to have.
On that Google AdWords thing, I interviewed, I would say, pretty close to Australia's leading expert on Google AdWords, Mike Rhodes. I interviewed him a few months ago, and he's also done an exclusive webinar within my forum, and he basically says, he goes as far as calling Google AdWords a money tree. It's the closest he's found to an advertising money tree. He said, if you're spending $1 on AdWords, you should be getting multiple dollars back, and I have seen that often.
Yeah, and that's what we've found compared to any other form of advertising, and I think also the fact that it's measurable. So when we were doing advertising in magazines, like, we didn't really know how to measure its impact. So
No one does.
No, of course. And like none of the so-called experts or the magazines that you're spending money on, no matter how many glossy flyers they send you, there's no like hard data or convincing data on how they're going to measure our return on investment. Whereas with Google AdWords, it's a lot easier to see. So,
and are you managing that yourself, or are you outsourcing your AdWords management?
We've done a bit of both in the past. Right now, we're managing it ourselves, but we've got a new website coming up in a month or so, and the company we're using is a full-service agency, so they'll be managing our AdWords as well.
Yeah,
and
right.
They said they actually outsource to a specialist Google AdWords agency who's got some ridiculous return on investment. So they basically said something similar to what you would have heard from Mike Rhodes, which is like spend as much as you can on AdWords spend as much as you can afford, because you get multiples upon multiples of return on investment if you do it right.
Well, and therein like everything, if you do it right. So listeners, don't think that you just start an AdWords campaign and in come the inquiries and the sales. But you know, if there's certain things you get right, like the copy in your headline, where you're linking to. Don't just link to your homepage, but link to a page that's relevant to your ad, which is relevant to the search. And you know, yes, absolutely, there are things you need to get right, but gee, it's not as hard as you think it is, and beautifully measurable and accountable. So, what else do you do, Tahir? You got? I noticed just looking through your things, you're pretty good on publicity. You've managed to get one of your prams appear in a TV show called, remind me, House Husbands.
House Husbands, yeah.
How'd that happen?
Yeah, so this is actually stems back to our early days. So a few months into our launch, we, you know, like publicity for a new company is invaluable.
Oh, yeah.
And so Roche reached out to all of the major television networks and said, do you need a pram for any of your shows? And
brilliant.
Initially, they said, oh, you know, thanks for contacting us. We'll let you know if anything comes up. Mm-hmm. So we just left it at that. And a few months later, it took a good 3 or 4 months later, and Channel 9 Studios called us up and said, we'd like your pram to come in for an audition for the second series of House Husbands. So
I bet the pram got nervous.
Pardon?
I said, I bet the pram got nervous at that point in time.
Yeah, I think it was shaking as it went out the door. So
that's great. Just out of interest, you say Roche contacted the TV stations. What did he do? Did he write a letter and drop it at reception, or did you identify the best contact? How do you do that?
I'm not sure exactly what he did, but I think he basically went on the web and found out how to contact the production studios, and eventually for each studio got through to the best contact person to leave our details with. So I imagine the studios have got someone or a group of people that are in charge of accessories and props for the shows that they record themselves. So besides you being able on your website to say, hey, you know, our prams, as used on a Logie award-winning show, that's great. That's a great credentializer. Has anything else? Has that got you sales? Yeah, we certainly think it has, because we always ask our customers whenever especially if we speak to them on the phone, but often by email as well, how did you first find out about Rozibaby? And when our pram came on to the season 2 of House Husbands, we did notice quite a few people had cited the show as the first place that they'd seen it. So it certainly has driven some awareness for us and some sales initially. And you know, as with any PR activity, the sales aren't always immediate. It's often just reinforcing and introducing a brand, which then gets stronger in people's minds. So, it certainly did have a big effect, especially relatively at the time when we had little other PR that was out in the market. But for the last 4 months, we've actually had a very good PR company we've been working with that have got us plenty of articles, including the Age article, which I think Paul saw, your producer. So
So that's interesting. So let's just finish on that because, again, I think more small businesses should be doing this. So you've actively employed a publicist. They've helped you identify an angle or a number of angles probably, depending on which media you're going to target. You've then, off the back of those angles, created stories and put it out there, cast the net wide to, I'm guessing, hopefully above the line and online bloggers, podcasters, and others.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you're just, in come the story. So you have had, for overseas listeners, The Age is one of the biggest newspapers in Australia. I found Tahir I was flying between Melbourne and Sydney and listening to Qantas Radio, and Tahir was being interviewed on that. So you can't underestimate what that kind of publicity can do. It may end up getting you on the Small Business Big Marketing Show.
That's right. Yeah, it certainly does have a snowballing effect, and we've had a couple of pretty impressive companies and people such as yourself approach us.
Stop it.
until a month or so ago, we've been doing all the approaching, or our PR company has been doing it. So it's nice to see when it sort of the favour gets returned.
Do you mind if I ask what you paid for that PR strategy? Is it a one-off fee, or
we're spending a few thousand a month on it. Mm-hmm. We very happy with the company, and they're called Click PR. They actually specialise with disruptors and entrepreneurs and companies like ours, and probably companies like a lot
fantastic
of the ones that your readers listen to.
Well, listeners, if you call or contact Click PR, tell them Timbo and Tahir sent you, because that's always a good thing. I'm amazed at some of the things. Something special is going to happen as a result of being on this show, Tahir. It will. I've had some great feedback of recent times from guests who have said, "Oh, you wouldn't believe it, but such and such, blah blah, whatever." So exciting times. It's a young company. It's a great idea. It's a big idea, and you sounds like you just got married, so you'll have a need for one of your own products very soon if you choose to go that way. So you got one. You got a custom build in mind. How are you going to pimp your pram?
I think I'll leave that one up to the wife. So she's already got something planned for us.
Yeah, correct. Oh, good on you, Tahir, mate. I think it's a great story, and as I said, early days, and I reckon it sounds like there's some great growth ahead of you, and I love your entrepreneurial spirit and your willingness to kind of try things and do things a little bit differently. So well done, mate.
Yeah, well, thanks very much, Tim. It's been a pleasure chatting to you.
What a good fella Tahir is. I've got my top 5 learnings that I'm going to share with you very shortly. But before I do, let's talk about getting some design fixes done in your business. It is a little secret that many smart business owners everywhere are onto. Have you got marketing materials lying around that need a little tweaking? Maybe the details on your business card need updating, your logo needs altering, or you'd like to change the colour of that beige short shirt you accidentally wore in your profile shot. Damn that! Don't worry, it can all be fixed. That'll be $19 and it'll be done in an hour thanks to Swiftly.com. Small design fixes fast, that's exactly how they roll. You simply upload the artwork that needs fixing, tell them what needs doing, and bang! 1 hour and $19 later, it's done. Check them out. That's Swiftly.com. Swiftly. Now, I hope you enjoyed that little fireside chat with Tahir from Rozibaby. Plenty of gold in there, I reckon. I'm going to give you my top 5 learnings from that. Number 1, custom offerings. I just love that whole idea of providing, giving your customers the opportunity to personalise the service or the product that you deliver to them. So have a think about how you could do that in your business. Number 2, challenge the status quo, take a risk, be a disruptor, like Miss Chu did. If you've listened to episode 186 of this show, Miss Chu was also a massive disruptor in her category. So I think we need to sort of challenge the conventions of the category in which we operate more often, just like Tahir has done. Number 3, surround yourself with good people. Sounds obvious, The fact that you're listening to this show means that you are surrounding yourself with good people, because the guests that come through these doors, they're good people. And likewise, read good books. Surround yourself with a good network of people who have been there and done that. And surround yourself with positivity. Number 4, address fears. If you do have an online business, figure out all the fears that people have that stop them from handing over their hard-earned to you. And even if you don't have an online business, yes, there's still fears, so think about what they are. Ask customers and prospects, what stops you from buying from a business like this, and address them. Number 5, I do love the publicity strategy that Tahir embarked on, going and spending a few $1,000s on a PR agency to get him, coverage in TV, magazines, press, blogs, podcasts, etc. I think it's a really smart idea. I'd love to know what your learning was from that episode, so head over to episode 187 at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and share your learnings. That way we can all grow together. Now, speaking of leaving comments on the show notes for this show, we asked for that to happen in episode 185, where I interviewed Ryan Clark from Cactus Skincare. Very interesting interview, lots of discussion around that. Ryan was the fellow who went about changing himself, his personality, in order to help market his business. It was very interesting, a little bit controversial. Now, Ryan was from Cactus Skincare. They make all sorts of, moisturizers and lotions and all that type of stuff, and he kindly offered a $159 skincare hamper to the best blog comment. So we got about 20, and I would love to announce the winner. Now, before I announce the winner, there is a very, very close runner-up, and it is the Fat Badger. Now, the Fat Badger, he left a very long comment, and it was very insightful. I'll just read you some snippets of it. He says, equal credit must go to both Timbo and Ryan for this week's episode. The interview started a little shaky, and you had every right to expect more from a self-promoted guest, Timbo. Ryan's sales spiel, that I presume had worked for him since the relaunch of the brand, began taking on water under the tight weight of Tim's desire for details. He goes on to say, I've got to congratulate Ryan, though, for suggesting himself as a guest and putting himself out there for what was ultimately as much a test of his character as it was a test of his marketing abilities. I totally agree with that, Fat Badger. Ryan let his defences down, dropped his adopted persona, and realised that it's okay to not have all the answers, and that to ask for help and advice is not a sign of weakness, but one of strength. Good advice for all, I believe. Ryan, best of luck to you. Timbo, another magical performance. Great work, Fat Badger. Really appreciate your involvement and passion for this show. But the winner of the most insightful blog comment for episode 185, and this person is going to have the softest, most radiant skin known to man, is Greg Cadorin. I'm going to spell that, Cadorin. And Greg says, great interview, Timbo. For me, there was some great ideas. 3 of them. Seeding, be shareable. By the way, what he meant by seeding was the way Ryan shared his product amongst celebrities so that they talked about it. Be shareable and presenting the business owner in a positive light, or at least the way the customer expects them. For me, though, the most crucial take-home was the whole free samples issue. I'm of the opinion that too many conditions, generally any conditions, can easily kill a promotion. The trouble is that when the customer invests nothing, in this case not even the time to visit the brick and mortar premises because Ryan's business was online, you can be overrun with cheapskates who only want the free stuff. I would suggest that the people who frequent those freebie offer sites almost exclusively have no intention of buying any of the products they want for free. Great comment, Greg, and you're right, mate. What Ryan did was put a small price, it was $6 or $8, on requesting some free samples from Cactus Skincare. That way, everyone's got some skin in the game. Excuse the pun. Hey, Greg, mate, I'll leave a comment on the show notes for episode 185, but feel free to make contact to me, tim@smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, and we will sort you out with that prize. Thanks so much, mate. That is it for episode 187 of Australia's #1 marketing show. Join the forum. I'd love to see you inside there at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. Click on the forum button. Remember, Net Registry are there to get your online marketing sorted, netregistry.com.au, and swiftly for all your small design fixes done fast. Next week's episode, not telling, but as I said at the start, we have got Karen Jacobson, aka Siri, will be on the show in the coming weeks. Lots going on. I'm Timbo Reid. You've been smart enough to tune into the world's #1 small business marketing show. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.